So welcome everyone. I'm Michelle Greenwell, and this is Tai Chi Wellness. We have been celebrating Wellness Wednesdays for all summer, actually. We started back in July with the special Wellness Wednesdays, and we're coming to the end of the summer, but not to the end of programming. There's a lot more yet to come. I want to share with you today a little bit about the imagination and how the imagination affects your movement. And so we're going to play around with that using the first 17 moves from Tai Chi, which I've been sharing across the summer and which you can easily do just by following what we're doing. What I would ask you to do is stay very, very relaxed and calm. Don't stress about the movements. Less is more. So if you start to get really stressed about it, it's just going to make it really hard. What we really want to do is just make it very, very gentle. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm just going to go through the movements, the first 17 movements, so you can get a feel for it. And that's just going to open up our body to be able to start the relaxation process. The other thing that it does, hello Alexis, good to see you. The other thing that it does is it opens up all the energy lines in the body. The first 17 moves of the set actually pull on tissue, and it's that pull and that relaxation of it that actually opens all the lines. So I love, if you can't remember 108, it's okay, because when we come to 17, you can know that much. So, hey Pam, good to see you. So I just gave an introduction of what we're up to. Today we're going to play around with imagination and see how it affects movement and see how we can open up our movement and expand the benefits of Tai Chi by using imagination. So I'm going to do the first 17 moves from the set. So I'm going to turn around and face the other way. And then if you want to follow, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk a little bit about what we're going to imagine. So first bit is just imagining soft and gentle. Okay, so hopefully that gets the screen in good enough. Okay, so to begin with, we start with the bow. Our feet are shoulder width apart. And I'm going to take my hands and bring them together. The ladies always grab the left thumb, gentlemen always grab the right. Okay, we're going to bring that forward in front. And then you just do a scoop forward. Let that all relax. And that's going to come back up. And then let it just sink down. Okay. Now the hands are going to rise because you're going to just softly push into the feet. And that gives you a float. And then the hands come down. And then we're going to turn to the right hand going out, our right foot going out, and then our heel releasing at the back. Holding the ball, stepping into the corner, we have left grasp bird's tail. Holding the ball, we step with our right foot to the side, and it goes fingertip into the wrist. Pushing in your feet to go back. Push into your feet to go forward, and the palms are going to go face to face. Palms are palm to palm, sorry. Then two hands go forward. Some dance language came flying out there. Push and come back. And this is going to come around. So the right foot is going to pick up. We're just going to turn the whole body around. Our hands turn. They go past our belly. And they come out to make a cone with your right hand, and then we open the left. We're going to come back into the right, turn the left foot to the corner, the heel goes out, and then we just do a sink. We're going to sit down onto that left leg, your right toe goes down, your right hand comes down, and then we're just going to take a step and move into the right foot. We're going to open the hands up to the top. That's going to come around, spiral, and then step with the left foot, and we have a brush knee. Take half a step with your right, put your left heel out, and then we're just going to sink down into that right leg, bringing the hands together. We're going to open the right hand, step left, and go brush knee left. We're going to turn hand and foot. We're going to go brush knee right, turn, step with the left, brush knee. And I'm just going to run out of room, so you stay where you are. Just going to back up. You can see, half a step with your right, heel goes out, and then we're just going to sink. Open the hand, step with the left foot, brush knee. We've got a twist step, hold the flowers. We're going to step with our right foot turned out, and our hand goes in, it goes out. We stand on the right foot, and we step through. That's called deflect, parry, and punch. Then we're going to slide back, two hands, pushing over the top, left and right, sink, crossing over, and then let it go. And your hands just sink back down to the bottom. Okay, so that gives us our 17 moves right there. And I know if you've never done them before, it would have been hard to keep track. You'd be, which way are we going? So I'm going to ask you to do something to find out what are the cues you need to listen to. And I don't think I've shared this with you before. So what you're going to do is turn your thumbs out and then turn your feet in. And then what I'd like you to do is you can jump or just twist. You're going to change so it's the opposite. And then change back. And we're just going to go change, change, change. And you want to stay opposite. Okay, so now, as you realized that was a little bit harder than you thought, I just want you to figure out how to make that work for you. So I'll just give you a moment to do that. While you're doing that, I'm just going to throw in my hand turning exercise. You figure out how you can get the hands and feet to stay opposite. Okay. And as you're discovering your ways, I'm going to now bring awareness to it. So, first thing I want to ask is, did you put the thumbs out first, or did you put the toes in first, whichever direction, but was it hands first or feet first? That'll tell you which cues to listen to when I'm talking. If it was your hands first, listen to the hands when I give descriptions, and if it was feet, listen to the feet descriptions. When you know where your feet are going to go, then you'll be able to look at the hands, or vice versa. And if you're listening to the wrong cues, it makes it really confusing. Okay, so we have that little piece. The next part is, how did you take the cue in? Were you watching me and you just copied? That would have been visual. Did you listen to what I said? Take your thumbs out and put your feet in. So we were listening to the direction. You would know that if you started to do it and you were trying to figure it out and you said, okay, my thumbs were going to go out and then my toes were going to come in. And you actually verbally said it out loud. That would be, you need it to be an auditory way. And the last one is, you just kind of stared off into space and then you just tried it. That would be your whole kinesthetic. Okay? If you took your eyes and looked down and tried to match, that would be visual. So I give you that because then you'll also know how best you learn. So I could say it to you, but if you're kinesthetic, you have to really move in it to know how it works. Also means if you're kinesthetic, you need to practice it on your own to figure out what it feels like and then bring it back to the group. So that's also really good to know. Okay, so now you know visual, auditory, kinesthetic, kind of as your dominant piece. And then we have the second part, top half of the body needs to go first, or bottom half of the body needs to go first. Okay, so now that I said all that, at the beginning today when I was talking about our opening, I was explaining about imagination. And what I want to explore with Tai Chi is how you can advance your movement by bringing in imagination. I want to draw awareness to the cards that were produced and released last week called It's in the Cards. I'll just sit down because then you'll see me. You'll see my smile instead of the middle of my body. In the deck of cards, so the deck of cards looks like this. in the deck of cards, there's all kinds of activities that you can do. And some include the Choose Love formula and then mixing them up. What I'm going to offer to you today is 5 cards. I had them laid out here, but I'll just pick them up. 5 cards here. And actually at the bottom, they have some yoga movements. We're not going to actually do that part. It's listed right at the bottom. What we're going to do is we're going to use the images instead. And I just want you to play with that. So each one is labeled from which part of the 5 element that it comes from. And in Tai Chi, we're trying to balance the flow of the 5 element wheel. And there is fire, earth, metal, water, and wood. And when they're in flow, you have things work easily, goals get accomplished easy, you actually have a direction where you're going, you don't get caught up in your monkey thoughts, which we talked about in Tai Chi. So this is a way for us to bring some balance. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the nurturing cycle, which starts with fire. We'll go earth, metal, water, wood in the nurturing cycle. And I'm going to get you to imagine what we're going to see on these visuals. And we're going to pull in some of the key pieces from the visual. Each card also has this fantastic emotion with it. And so this one is cherish. So I'm also going to bring in the imagery, but I'm going to bring it in with a word. So then you can start to see how movement's going to feel for you with that. Okay, so we're going to do it by exploring the first 17 moves. So the first one for the fire element is apple. You can see the apples, which I just made a brand new tea blend this morning with my own apples out of the orchard. I cut them up myself and put them in. It was so much fun. So those are my Christmas presents. And the word on here is cherish. Okay. So thanks, Alexis. I had my husband sipping tea this morning. Okay, what do you think about this blend? So I was just making labels for the tea so that it'll have a Greenwell piece on it. So okay, now I go like this again. Hopefully my family doesn't see the video. Okay, so our cherish and the apples are what we're going to think about. So let's go to the first movement in the Tai Chi set, the first 3 actually. So you have commencement, you have left grassbird's tail, and then you have grassbird's tail, this little piece. Okay. So let's do it one time just so you can sense what the movement feels like. And then we're going to bring in some imagery. I'll turn around because that's probably the easiest for you to see. So commencement, pushing down into the feet, the arms float. And then this comes down. Right hand, right foot. Let the heel go. Hold the ball. Left grassbird's tail. Hold the ball. Grassbird's tail. Fingertip. Bow and arrow. Palm to palm. Open. 2 hands. And we'll leave it here. All right. For anybody who wants to explore those movements, I did spend across these 8 weeks, I did spend time on these movements. And so you're very welcome to go back to the other videos and take advantage of them and really explore the movement. So now I want you to imagine that apple tree. And imagine the stability that comes from the trunk. Imagine the roots that go down into the ground. Imagine the branches and what they offer, and the gifts that come from the branches. And then if we take the emotion of cherish, what do you cherish most? You think of the apple tree and all that it represents, the things that have the same kind of sense that you cherish. Let's play with the movement. All right, so here comes our commencement. Let that go. And now you're going to turn to the right and sing. Hold the ball. Left grassbird's tail. Hold the ball. Grassbird's tail. Fingertip to the wrist. Bow and arrow comes back. palm to palm, open, two hands. Okay. I'm giggling because my movements, there was all kinds of things I was experiencing with that movement. Okay. So for me, by adding the image of the tree and the gifts that the apple tree has, when I went to move, there was a smoothness that kind of came into the movements. And at the very end, as I was coming through here, all of a sudden there was an engagement in my shoulders across the scapula, so the shoulder blade in the back, but a really nice opening that happened across the clavicle, which was really interesting. I sense a lot of things while I'm doing Tai Chi, but I had never had that just kind of all of a sudden open. Okay, let's take your experience from there and let's go to the next part. So we're going to keep the same movement, but what we're going to do is change the image. So this one is the earth element. And the picture there, these are Paula Nowak's photographs from her yard. This is a sunflower. It has a tiny little bee off in the corner coming in to pollinate. And the word is believe. So if you think about that wonderful yellow and what sunflowers represent to you, thanks for the comment, and believe. You think about the stalk of the sunflower, the incredible beauty of the flower itself, and inside the center of that flower is they call it the flower of life. That's the whole matrix network of connection is all in the opening of that flower, which is amazing. And then you have this beautiful piece, which is, the bee is being compassionate, really. The bee is a connector, so the love and the passion comes in from that bee, and he takes it and he spreads it, right, to all the other flowers. But also you have this incredible sharing that comes out of the sunflower. And if you take that emotion of belief, let's see what it feels like to put it into the movements. All right, so starting with our commencement. Let that go. And then turning. It's the yellow in my room. Beautiful representation of the sunflower. All. Now this is going to come through fingertip. Expand. Palm to palm. Open. Two hands. And let that go. Okay. So now what we can explore there is, what was the difference or quality of movement? For me, I was smiling. The sunflower, color yellow, and even just the word believe, just like lit me up. And then we also have just that opening of movement. There was a smoothness, I think I would say. And then where last time I felt it across the clavicle, this time I felt it more across the back of the shoulder. So that's where it changed for me. Okay, so now we have fire, earth. So we've got those two pieces in balance. Let's move to the metal element. And I'm hoping you're keeping track of what you're noticing. Okay, so here's this one. This is heart connection. So our heart connecting to each other because we're here, or to other people, or even to nature today. And these are the beautiful bleeding hearts, and Paula has called them happy hearts. So what we're going to do here, the metal element, is think about our heart connection. In the Choose Love movement and the terminology that we use in the formula, we have the compassion and action. We also have gratitude that's in there. And if you just want to think from your heart how you can connect with someone else by reaching out, how maybe they connect with you because they reached out to you, how you might just want to be sharing, so just letting the heart be open. And then if you bring in that thought of that gratitude, what that brings in, okay? So if we go back to our movement, let's see what this is going to feel like. The colors are white, silver, and gray. We'll go commencement. Reaching out. Hold the ball left, grasp its tail. Hold the ball, grasp its tail. 2 hands. And then it opens. Okay, hopefully you didn't hear my tummy. And when it gets happy, it just starts gurgling away. So that's what it was doing. Okay, so now if you think about what that movement might have felt for you like, it's going to sound a little bit different. That was like a movement that was whole for me. So like instead of separating each part out, that I could feel each movement or where it was going, that was like I could just feel overall everything was there. And at the moment, I really do feel like I just have like a great big bubble surrounding me at the moment, which is fantastic. So I'm not sure what you have experienced, but let's just take that experience and bring it in. And let's add a little bit more. This takes us to the water element and peace. And in this card, this one we have robin's nest with blue eggs. Okay, and we're thinking peace with this one. Rest and relaxation is the bottom part of it as well. Okay, and so if we're thinking about peace, if you take the whole Choose Love formula and put it together, it creates peace. So it's like having the formula in one word. So here goes commencement. Reaching out. Left grasp its tail. Fingertip. And then expand. Okay. So think about your experience, what you might have had happen for you. The movement was smooth for me, but the overall feeling that I got from it was peace. It was just like, everything else just fell away, and it's like, you know what, it all doesn't matter anymore. The only important piece is that's it. Okay, so I'll let you sit with those reflections. We'll move to the last one, which is the wood element. This is abundance. And in here we have a picture of the Rocky Mountains and the beautiful lake in front. I think this is kind of near Canmore. Strong Mountain is what's written at the bottom of that, but we're thinking abundance. So if you think about the words that we put together here, and you think about when we have that whole Choose Love formula engaged and working, the abundance it produces. The abundance of friendships, the abundance of calmness, stress release, the abundance of relationships that happen as a result of people who are like-minded working together. So I'm just going to bring those ideas in, and let's try the movements again. We're just thinking abundance. Okay. All right, so if you just kind of take note of what you felt through that. I'll just share the last piece for me was like that last card just kind of pulled it all together. It was just like the movement just felt really nice just to be present in there. And even the thoughts of right foot to left foot, where to place the hands, that kind of all just kind of fell away. It was there, but it wasn't really predominant. And it was just solid in its piece. Okay, so with that, I know that I have a couple of people on the call today. So maybe we could take a moment just for you to share what you experienced, and that'll just give us an idea of what other things might have been brought forward. Okay. Anybody have anything they want to share? Maybe not. Okay. All right. So if that's the case, I'm going to go with all of my observations. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to close this back up so I can be able to see better. Okay. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to advance from those thoughts. So, so Alexis is saying slow day. There was a lot of information in there. I'm hoping that the ultimate piece for you as participants is that you experienced the overall effect of what Tai Chi is, but also of what the formula is, or even what imagination does. And that is to be able to just let the rest of the world fall away and to be able to just feel really collected and together. That's the goal. Okay. And the reason I did the conversation that way today is I sat in on this fantastic webinar yesterday on somatic movement, and the exploration was on awareness. What are you aware of? But then there was this wonderful connection between imagery and the fascia. And the fascia is, they refer to it as connective tissue, but it's really it's the way that the electrical currents run through the body, through water, and it's a shapeshifter. It's not formed like the skin. It actually goes across all the tissue inside. It wraps around the organs. It's going through layers. There's so much of it through our body. And the fascia, as a shapeshifter, it changes depending on how we need to make our movement. So if we need to go like Grassbird's tail, like this, it is going forward and back, but it also has this beautiful rotation in it. And the fascia lets go of itself and moves itself and creates itself in whatever shape it needs to be in order to make the movement, which is really fascinating. And it expands its capabilities when you bring in imagination. So it's easy to learn the Tai Chi set and really be thinking about the movements, but it's really delightful if you can let go of movement and know, just like the apple tree, rounded, strong, have gifts, and you set up that image of what it feels like, and then start to move. Fascia actually responds in a completely different way. Okay, so that's what I wanted to share because it was just so fascinating to learn that yesterday. Okay, we've done the first 3 moves from the Tai Chi set, and we have explored putting the fingertip into the wrist, pulling apart in other days. So let's move to move hands like clouds, which then we can explore a different way of moving. It's further into the set. It's like halfway through part 2, but it creates movements that are front, middle, back, up, down. It's a multi-dimensional way of moving. So the first thing I'm going to get you to do is take your hand and curve it around, and then your elbow is going to pick up so you can find the roundness. And then your hand is going to scoop up the front, the palm turns, and then it goes around and out. Okay, so now I gave you a verbal cue, I gave you a visual cue, And if you're kinesthetic, you'll have to just play with it a few times. So it has a roundness that you're trying to bring in, and then open. Okay, so if you imagine a beach ball, you want to put your arms around the beach ball, and then you're going to take the beach ball and you're going to blow it up and make it bigger. Okay, so now it's even bigger, but we're going to reach around and circle it again. And that's going to come through. Okay, now you may notice the rest of the body isn't just standing and doing nothing. It has this sink that happens right here. The knees let go, the lower back opens, then a spiral, and then a spiral back, and an expansion. So when the hand turns, the hips kind of release, they're free to move. Then when this comes around, they find where they want to be, they stop, but the waist keeps turning. It's really quite cool. Okay? That's that one little action. Okay, so that's what the one hand is doing. The other hand is doing the exact same thing, just at a different time. So it's all coordination. Okay, so we're going to go around the beach ball. That's going to allow us to sink. This is going to turn, push open, expand. Around the beach ball, push and open. Around the beach ball, push and open. Around the beach ball, push and open. All right, so you've got that scoop. I find I can scoop on one side better than I can scoop on the other. So roundness seems to happen a little bit easier on my left than my right. And so I'm always kind of working with that. Now that you know about imagination, you can bring in the image that will help it to be a little bit more round. Okay, so that's coming around. Okay, now the quest is to put those two together. Okay, I'm still leaving my feet right where they are. We're not adding any feet yet. And you can just see me kind of going up and down with my legs. That's what happens. Okay, so your right hand is coming up the center while your left hand, or I guess I'm facing you, this is probably your right hand, this is your left. Okay, it's going to scoop and the hand turns. And at the same time, they're in the middle and then they change places. So we have grab the beach ball, make the beach ball bigger, and then grab the beach ball, make the beach ball bigger. And we have push from one leg, down into the other, push from that leg, down into the other, push from that leg, down into the other. All right, so this is called move hands like clouds. Now, if you imagine the lightness of the clouds, the openness of that scoop. Okay, it's also a great one for getting rid of monkey thoughts. It's letting everything be nice and calm. And if you imagine the clouds also as shapeshifters, you know how they transform above you in the sky. Just imagine that's how everything that we work on is as well. We can have cumulatively bringing in together nice big clouds. We can have it go into striata shapes, serious shapes, so it can reach out, flatten, you can stack it, all kinds of things we can do. Play. Okay. There's that. I'm hoping you got that coordinated together. Now we're going to add the legs. That's the top half of the body. So if you're one of those people that likes to learn arms first, then you would have been happy. If you wanted to learn feet first, started at the wrong end for you, but now you'll be able to put it together. Okay, so we're going to go down into, I'm going to think about this because I'll come over this side. It goes down into your right leg first, and you sink down into the right. Then you put out your left foot, leaving the toe straight forward, and then you push across to the other leg, and you're down on that leg. You plant your foot, and then push off the left, take it over, and then down into your right. Okay, so you have over, glide, stay there, bring your foot in, push off the left, bring it over to your right, and then sink. It creates a circle. So we have across the bottom of this circle, up the side, over the top, down into the right, and then step out. You could think of it as a square if you like. I just like to round the edges off a little bit. Up and over. This goes down, sink, and then reach across. Plant the foot, up and over, sink, reach across. Okay, so that's the action of the feet. They kind of get lost when we get the arms going. So just try to stay kind of in it. The most important is to figure out how to get those legs working with that pumping action of down and then up on the other side. So it's a one-legged danyu. Means going down on that one leg and then pushing off the feet to come up the other side. And that pumping action is what's changing energy inside. So if you kind of skip through some of it, you won't get the same benefits. That's what happens for most people. I'm going to do it facing away from you, and I'll come across, and then I'll turn and do it facing, in case that's better for you to see. So you've got, find the beach ball, the other hand is coming up the center of the body. Okay, so you've got find the beach ball and sink. We're going to go across, and then plant the foot, find the beach ball, it pushes you up. That takes you over and sink. Place the foot, comes across. Push over to the other side, plant the foot, find the beach ball. Take yourself over to the other side, sink. Find the beach ball, place the foot, up and turn, sink. Comes across, push under the foot, comes across, sink. Over, place the foot, and then sink. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll turn around and face you. I have to reverse it. Okay, all right, so if you're having trouble because the arms you couldn't see, hopefully this will help. So we're going to go drop, place it over, sink. Comes across, over, sink. So I talked about all the ways this moves forward and back, up and down, in and out. And this can be a challenging move for anybody who has a challenge moving in a particular direction, which just means spend a little bit more time with it, gentle. So think about the apple tree, cherish. Think about the sunflower, believe. Isn't that beautiful? And just pull those little images in really quickly. We have those hearts, connecting with the heart. We have those robin eggs, blue, coming up and through. And one more. Step across and hold. Lovely. Okay, so that's called Move Hands Like Clouds. You may feel down the arms, you may feel almost like the hairs like standing on end, just because electrically you've expanded your field from all the work that we've just done. And so you just may feel like if you put your hand across, if I go like this, you can see that I'm well above my arm, nowhere near the hair on my arm. But I can actually feel my hand moving across as I do this. And that just is, that's how much of the field has expanded with the movements. Move Hands Like Clouds just really gives you that opportunity to pull it in. Okay, so we have that little piece. And I know that what I have been doing is a little bit of saber on the end each time. And we've tried a couple different moves, but I'm going to play with some imagery. So if you have a wooden spoon from your kitchen, great. If you have a stick, that's fine. If you have to pretend and just move your hands, that's okay. Just grabbing one of my sabers here on the bag. And all right, what I'm going to do is, I've done this seated before, but I'm actually going to do this standing. And then I'll do it seated, so we've got a couple ways to play. In your right hand, you're holding it like a saber would be held. Okay, and in the left hand, you actually rest it like this, so the blade is out, and your fingers are at the hilt. All right, for right now, what we need is here, and I'm going to do the action that travels backwards, and it does a spiral, and it's kind of like slithering like a snake when we do it, but it also has this perfect. Thanks for getting the spoon. Awesome. So the spiral is like a snake, but we also have this rotation, which is just like a turning on its point. Okay, so I'm going to travel. What's going to be the best for you? I'm going to face straight into the wall here. So if you take your spoon and take the ladle of the spoon, the actual spoon part, you're going to turn it over like this, and you're just going to push it around to the side. And I'm going to flip the saber over, or the spoon, and now what's going to happen is push from your right foot, and it's going to spiral you all the way around to the left. Flip it over, and you're going to place your hand, not touching it, but below it, like you could feel the field up there. You're going to step back, and this is a spiral that just goes really right around. Okay, so we have flip it over, travel it through, flip it over, and take it back. Flip it over, take it through, flip it over, and take it back. And flip it over, take it through, and flip it over, and take it back. Okay, and now we can go forward. Usually you come back with 3, I think you did more. Put your fingers on the top. What we're going to do is a figure 8. So we go into the left corner, and then bring it back out to the right corner. And we do the same thing going forward. So we flip it over, and we turn it, and we flip it over. This time your fingers go on the top, and then you step forward, spiral. Then flip it over. This comes around. Flip it over. Push it through. Usually we do 2, but let's do a couple more because there's room. There is for me anyway. Around. Flip it over. And through. And around. Flip it over. And then step, last one here, through. Okay, so that gives you your experience standing. If you have a chair and you want to do it seated, You can still do it standing if you want, but I'll do it seated so you can get a feel for this. Okay, so we're going to go. The camera is just so short. Okay, so the saber's in my right hand. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go forward into my feet. And I'm going to push forward, and then flip it over, and then it comes back. And if you're still walking, I'll try to direct feet. So flip it over, and you sweep forward, and then I'm going to step with the right foot, spiral back. You feel that go right from top to bottom. This goes forward, which includes the whole body, and this just turns just the spine. And flip it over. It's going to come through, and then flip it back. Comes around. Let's do one more. So forward, flip it over, and it spirals back. Okay, so now if we were to do, that would be the pattern coming back. If we do the pattern going forward, fingertips go onto the top. We're just going to move it over to the left side, and then move it back to the right side. That's our little figure 8. We flip it over, it goes forward. This time your fingertips go on the top and spiral back. And just that little change changes what the pelvis is doing. And usually we do 2, but I'll do a few more. So we have sweep it forward, flip it over, come back, flip it over, and come back. And if we were going to finish, it would push straight out, which then you can feel kind of lines up the base of the spine, up the top, across the shoulders, and then at the back of the head, just pulling up nice and tall. You just feel that whole piece there. Right. Awesome. Thanks for flipping your camera on. It was good to see you guys moving. Okay, so let's do it a couple minutes here. Let's do the over the top part. I'll just come a little bit closer. Hopefully you can see okay. And you just see my other hand. Excuse me. My left hand is going to push out, and the right hand is going to go over. And today what we'll focus on is equal and opposite. So you could go, hand goes over, but that would mean only your right arm's doing something. What you want to do is push a little bit with the left hand at the same time. So there's a separation. And now you can notice that you have a spiral that happened. And then what's going to happen is you're going to bring the spiral back together by bringing that ladle, your spoon is going to come over onto your left shoulder. And it's going to come across to your left shoulder, and then it comes down so that the bottom of your spoon is going to be at your hip. Okay. The other hand is going to expand, contract, expand. So it's helping you with the spiral action. Okay. So it has this, and then it releases, and then it goes back out again. Yeah. Okay. So if we go expand, and then it's going to come contract so that the ladle comes to your shoulder, and then it goes across to your hip. Okay. So now if we add just a little bit of awareness of our feet. So we're going to push a little bit of awareness into the left foot. That's our expansion. And then a little bit of awareness into the right. Crack, crack. And then into the left. That brings us down to our hip. So, something was out in my back. There was you probably didn't hear it, but there was a big clunk. Just trying to find its spot. Okay, let's try that again. So you weight into the left foot. That's the expansion. Weight into the right foot. Comes across. Weight into the left foot. Expands it open. Okay. So that's that one little bit that we have. And then let's take the ladle, put the soup spoon at the bottom, okay? And your fingertip goes into your wrist. And this one's just going to go all the way around your head. So the spoon goes around. And then let's bring it all the way through so the spoon is directing traffic and then it goes all the way around again. And then you can just say, hey, get in the pot. Okay, so we'll flip it over. Goes into the wrist. So we go around, and then this opens. So now we can bring it all the way through. Flip it around, and then this is going to go straight. Yeah, okay, last time. So branches on that apple tree, blowing in the wind, comes through all of the hearts, leading heart plant, comes around, through. There's our sunshine. Yeah, beautiful. Okay, I'm hoping you're feeling like you're ready to tackle the day now and all the extra pieces that have come into your day. Anyway.
I'm ready.
Me too.
Oh, awesome.
I feel it in my arms. I feel it in my arms, you know, a little, that last doing that.
Yeah, exactly. And as, especially this opening piece, because we don't normally take it right over and then also open in a spiral at the same time. You just like take your hand and, you know, but if you start to pull that spiral action into it, you start to feel where there's more power. Just in case you're going to.
And when we did this one, I have to like kind of think, because I want to just like, instead of staying out straight, you know how you do your arms out, it's like something you could drop it down, like just like, okay, I'm just like doing one of those, but it's like keeping the control in your arms.
Straight across. Yeah, yeah. And then letting it guide like back across.
I just feel like just like, oh, I could just kind of like, you know, wing it around, or, but it's like you really have to kind of keep the grip.
Yeah, 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 you're right. Yeah.
We were doing Alexis and I were doing our exercises last night. We were doing planks and ab work. We were watching something on TV and they were doing different things for your abs. And so we were getting our exercise in late last night.
Lovely.
And this feels good for the morning.
You can imagine for a few muscles. And then to take those muscles back into a spiral, because if you do those kind of contractions straight on pieces, if you finish off with a spiral, so even if you picked up the spoon and you just started playing with a few things, that re-engages everything, because if it locked into position, if you think of that fascia, you think about it, how it would have held you, then if you think about, okay, let me see if I can now make you shape shift, and that opens possibility. So then you're going to have more movement coming out of that workout. Yeah, yeah. Interesting way to think about it.
Yeah, I love it. Feels good to get your body moving. I actually had some Broadway tunes on this morning, and I was holding my dog and we're swinging around and dancing, and it feels good to just kind of do that in the morning. You know, you get up, you're creaky, you're kind of, you know, you've been laying all day, you know, all night, and it feels good to just kind of get that energy going, and because we know I'm going to sit for a while and do work.
Exactly. Yep. That was my thought as well. Yeah. Have you seen Hamilton?
No.
Oh my gosh. You got to see Hamilton. And then
I've listened to it. I've listened to the soundtrack of it, but haven't seen it.
The dancers become the furniture, and their movements are the furniture. It's just so spectacular to watch. You have to watch it like several times with different heads on, you know, because one is you're listening to the lyrics and the other one is trying to keep the story. And then, but if you just sit and watch just what are the dancers doing in movement wise, it's just so spectacular.
I feel the same way with like any Broadway show. I always want to watch at least twice, because I always love watching the dancing, but then I also watch it for the story, and I like want to just key in on the dance. Oh,
yep. Yeah.
It's Broadway.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, when you get a chance, Hamilton's there.
Thank you, Michelle. This was so good. Needed.
Very welcome.
Slow morning
Very
today.
welcome.
It took a while to get into the groove of things, so I'm awake now.
The universe is out there doing that. It's, you know, we just have to keep supporting each other to navigate what's happening. Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right. We got book club tonight, so we got a long day ahead of us.
Yeah. Yeah. Wonderful. All right. Well, while I'm
Thank-
doing Tai Chi for later tonight, then I'll just loop you guys in because while you're doing book club, I'm doing Tai Chi. So
Oh, we'll send energy back and forth.
yeah, exactly.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
All right. Have a great day.